What's that one thing that's holding you back from doing something that you want to do? And what's that subtle change in mindset and change in narrative that you can take so that it switches things around and it allows you to move forward and accelerate your performance? Hi, and welcome to Helping You Perform. I'm your host, Paul Teasdale. Over a career working with high-performing teams from across the globe, including 7 years working with Formula One team McLaren, I've learned a lot about what it takes to drive results. In this weekly podcast series, I'm going to be bringing you tips, tricks, and insights from the world of Formula One that you can apply to your organisation for your high performance. Enjoy. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Helping You Perform, where I'm bringing my tips, tricks, insights and stories from the world of F1 and helping you to apply them for your own accelerated performance. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode 36, which was all about celebrating the world record pit stop that McLaren had just achieved at 1.80 seconds. Some amazing lessons to be learned and things to be celebrated there. In this episode 37, which was originally 36, I'm going to be talking about changing the narrative. So this was previously recorded for episode 36. I'm going to be efficient with my efforts. And instead of re-recording the whole thing, I'm just going to stitch this together so that you have a seamless podcasting experience and you learn about the value of changing the narrative for your own performance. In today's episode, I want to share a bit of a personal story and reflect on what I saw in the world of F1 in the same sphere. And it's all about changing the narrative. So I've got a client on at the moment. I'm doing a lot of work where I'm leaving early in the morning. I'm coming home. It's late at night, or it's getting towards that late at night where I'm getting the kids ready for bed. I'm getting them fed, ready for bed, and then sort of exhausted and hit the sofa, essentially. And so I've been neglecting a lot of the stuff that I know I should do around exercise and things like that. So I want to challenge myself in terms of, am I really doing what's required? And so I started to think about what's the inner narrative that's happening to me at the moment. And as it happened, my wife was taking my son out to something. And so I was there with my daughter. And I had been telling myself, and I realized I'd been telling myself, that I can't go for a run. I can't do the exercise that I need to do right now because I've got to be at home with my daughter. And I've got to do that for her. You know, it's a sacrifice I'm making in order to be there for her and be there to look after her. Now, I thought, how can I change that narrative? What can I do? Maybe there's just a couple of words that I can switch around here. And I thought, instead of I can't go out for a run, what's stopping me? And what could I do that helps me go out for a run? Now, as it happens, she's got a great walker and a great sort of pram that has a running attachment or an attachment to it that allows you to go out and run. So I thought, well, I can go out for a run. And not only that, I can because I've got to be with my daughter. Not that I've got to be at home with my daughter. No one said I had to be at home. I've got to be with my daughter so that I can do the best for her. And so just by changing that narrative of I can't go for a run because I've got to be at home with my daughter, to I must go for a run because I've got to be with my daughter. And just those few words and that slight change in narrative got me in the mindset, got me out there, and we both had an absolutely amazing time. You know, I didn't bust a gut and go out and try and run 10K in half an hour and all the rest of it. I just went out for a leisurely run with the two of us, just so that we could enjoy it and do the right thing and keep us going in a positive way, in the right, moving forward and taking the right positive steps to what we ultimately want to achieve. Now, I was reflecting on this in terms of my time in the world of McLaren. Now, when I joined McLaren, they were, I think that I often use the term, they were riding the crest of a slump. It was the early days of the Honda engine time, and therefore they were struggling. They were right at the back of the grid. They were really struggling, and it was a hard time for the business as a whole. Now, when you're used to succeeding and you're suddenly at the back of the grid, it can be a really, really tough time. But what I noticed on reflection was what was happening in the business. They were changing a lot of the narrative. It was more about we're investing now and we're learning from this for our future success. And yes, it's going to take a little while to get there, but ultimately, we're not just going to moan about the fact that the engine isn't working for us. We're saying, here's an opportunity to learn from this so that we can redesign, step back, rethink how we're going to approach this, and ultimately get ourselves better in future. And over recent weeks, we've started seeing the results where we're having 2 McLarens on the podium and all sorts of wonderful stuff. So it's amazing how just that change in narrative in your business can change the mindset of the people in your business. And even when things aren't going that great, you can help change that mindset so that they're pushing towards the next best thing. So that's what I want to leave you with today. I want to leave you to think about what's that one thing that's holding you back from doing something that you want to do? And what's that subtle change in mindset and change in narrative that you can take so that it switches things around and it allows you to move forward and accelerate your performance. As always, if you've got some questions, you've got some feedback, you want to see how this can be applied to you, or you want some support going forward with it, give me a shout. Go to paulteasdale.co.uk and click on that button for a free 30-minute chat. We'll set something up. We'll talk about your challenges and your opportunities and how I can help accelerate your performance. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Helping You Perform podcast. If you found value in this episode, please take a moment to like, share, or review the podcast. You can reach out to me at any time, either through LinkedIn or through my website at www.paulteasdale.co.uk. I look forward to speaking to you in the next episode.